Congressman James Walkinshaw of Virginia.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to our witnesses for being with us today. Last week, my constituent Lindsay testified here about her son, Calvin, who was born with multiple disabilities. And Lindsay told us how Medicaid made it possible for Calvin to get the early intervention services that have changed the trajectory of his life, and how the $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid that were part of the big ugly bill would put his care at risk. And families like hers and families like yours remind us what is truly at stake: our efforts to protect access to affordable and quality health care. And look, we all know the reasons that Speaker Johnson continues to extend the congressional Republican vacation. Among other things, he knows that refusing to even consider bipartisan negotiations to prevent health care costs from skyrocketing for the American people is indefensible. And what is the most urgent action needed today to prevent those health care costs from skyrocketing? It's extending the Enhanced Affordable Care Act tax credits that help millions of Americans afford quality coverage. And those credits have helped the Affordable Care Act achieve record enrollment and record savings for American families. But we also have to make sure that no one takes for granted the unjust status quo that the Affordable Care Act eliminated. And I want to thank all of you, especially Mr. Williams, for highlighting that today. Before the Affordable Care Act, folks faced a harsh market where insurers regularly denied Americans coverage because of their pre-existing conditions. Insurers could cap the amount of care a family could receive in a year or even in a lifetime. They could abandon parents to bankruptcy because their child happened to have a complex or chronic illness. And look, I think Republicans here in Congress have conveniently forgotten that it wasn't that long ago that insurance companies failed to cover essential health benefits, including maternity care, prescription drugs, mental health services, and more. And the Affordable Care Act changed that. And look, one of the ways I know that Republicans are starting to feel some heat from their constituents about the skyrocketing health care cost increases that are looming over the heads of the American people is they're starting to talk about what their package would look like to extend the premium tax credits. Now, I get nervous when Washington Republicans start putting their heads together about health care, because they usually come up with new and creative ways to take health care away from working families. But they are feeling the heat from their constituents like you all. They voted 70 times to repeal or gut the Affordable Care Act. Each time, their efforts would have taken coverage and protections away from millions of people. I want to thank you all for being here and speaking with us in a loud and clear voice that we're not going to go back to the days when getting sick meant going broke in this country. We're not going to allow health care costs to skyrocket for millions of American families, including yours. Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you so much, Congressman Walkinshaw.